We're shocked and saddened by the execution on the 25th of October of Ms. Rehane Jabari, who was sentenced to death for the alleged murder of Morteza Abdullahi Sarbandi, a former employee of the Iranian intelligence ministry.
There are several things we can say about the nation of Iran and not be questioned by those who know the truth. The government there, such as it is chaotic and hates anything American. They are determined to and will likely one day become a nuclear power, something that should frighten the rest of the world. And the manner in which they treat their own people, especially women, is heinous and despicable. Let's welcome to MidPoint. She is the U.S. representative of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, a native-born Iranian who now lives in America and is determined to see the brutal oppression of women in Iran come to light and force the world to take action. Soona Samsami joins us today. Soona, thank you so much for being here.
The weather is very good in D.C., getting warmer.
Good. Well, I'll tell you, you're one of the lucky ones in the north, okay, to get a little warm weather right now. Let's turn to what the problems are here and the fact that, Soona, we have talked about this, and this is something that is not new. We have heard about the absolute brutal torture that women undergo in Iran day in and day out, public executions. They invite children there to come see them and to make sure that they know what's going on. Why is it that the world cannot, for whatever reason, seem to take any action that sticks in Iran? Why is it that this continues and there's nothing done that's been substantive?
Yes, thank you, Ed, for having me on this show. Just UN Tuesday passed a resolution on a number of situations on human rights violation in Iran. For example, increase in public executions since Rouhani has come to office since last year. More than 1,000 people have been executed, and there is case of amputation of limb. There is strict violence against women, and there have been 25 cases of acid attacks recently in the city of Isfahan on faces of women and other cities around Iran. And there are actually cases of execution of minors. And there are so many cases of Kurdish and ethnic minorities that have been killed. The internet is blocked in Iran for population, and so many of the internet users actually are facing execution. So in light of this kind of circumstances, that for 61 times United Nations human rights body condemned this treatment of Iranian regime regarding human rights and citizenship, because of the U.S. administration currently sending and writing letters to ruling clerics in Iran who are very extremist and very fascist. Unfortunately, there is not much chance that Iranian people to be heard in an outside world. Unfortunately, since the policy of U.S. administration in all these years, in last 30 years, has been negotiating and sending wrong message and wrong signal to the Iranian people, unfortunately, there has not been chance that Iranian people to be heard.
I have about a minute.
That's why you don't see.
I have about a minute left, and then we're going to take a break, come back and talk a little bit about the people there. But you said 61 times this has been condemned by the United Nations, and the most recent time they said there was deep concern. Soona, we've heard this a million times. Isn't it fair to say that you've got to be getting tired of the United Nations saying things and nothing happens? It's all hot air.
Yes, it's because you see that United Nations is just a human rights body. We need real action by U.S. administration and Western governments to stand by the Iranian people. Don't forget in 2009, when millions of people in the streets of Iran were standing for their rights and asking to be heard, a cry for freedom, and we're trying to be heard through Western world and the whole world. Unfortunately, still this appeasement policy was going on, and that's why you don't get to see, millions and millions really wanted change. That's why you don't get to hear it. It's because of the policy of appeasement that won't let and discourages people, because of they think the Iranian people have so much looking to American people for admiration, for the peaceful and friendly relationships.
I want you to hold it right there. Soona, let me interrupt you. I want you to hold it right there because we have to take a break. But where you're talking is exactly what we're going to come back to. Sit tight for a couple of minutes, back with another chapter on this to hopefully better understand what goes on in the nation that we don't hear about, what the people really think about America. Those in Iran. It's coming up next on MidPoint.